Hola, mi gente. How are you all today? It's Makeda Voletta, live on my IG page, Makeda Voletta Travels. I will save this video and post it to my YouTube page, Makeda Voletta Travels. So make sure you follow me there. Let's see. I got the sun shining in my eyes. What's up, guys? So as you know, this is my travel page, and I oh I actually have some videos I need to do about Michigan. Um, I'm getting ready to drive upstate New York, maybe take a road trip to Canada. I'm not sure. So I have some videos I need to make, and I've just been really busy. So there'll be updates soon. But right now, I'm sitting in the beautiful island of Manhattan, and I've done videos before showing where I'm at right now. So if you see behind me, you see, I'm sitting on the Hudson River. Okay, I'm in Harlem, Washington Heights, and if you see behind me, you can see that's the George Washington Bridge. Okay, and then that's New Jersey across the Hudson River. Okay, so this is a nice. This is Riverside Park. Okay, so if you can see, there are people. Let me turn the camera around. Hold on. Hold on. Okay, this camera will be better. Okay, so you can see the George Washington Bridge, and that's New Jersey across the water. And then lower Manhattan, you got the sun. Okay, this is facing west, so the sun is setting. And then you have lower Manhattan down there. Can't really see. Let's see. The trees are covering up the buildings. Let's see if we can get a little of the skyline. Um, so upper Manhattan has way more trees. Most people, when they come to New York, they don't come uptown. They're always downtown. To me, downtown is way overrated. But look, see, okay, so down there, that's that's actually not lower Manhattan. That's still kind of probably Harlem. But lower Manhattan is all the way down there. Just gonna zoom in, okay? So that's still Harlem, and it's all the way down there. So you can't really see the full skyline. You have, oops, I'm trying to make the camera get smaller. Hold on, this is hard. I don't know why it won't go back down again. But anyhow, there's a little basketball courts over there, and this block runs for. I mean, this park runs for about 100 blocks. Let me see if I can make the camera. This is the last warm day of the season. So anyhow, to me, I'm a park person. I don't really care about the beach. I love being next to the water. This morning I went to the gym in Yonkers, and it's so beautiful. Like, to me, the Bronx is the prettiest borough when it comes to landscape. A lot of times when people come to New York City, they just go to lower Manhattan. They might touch Brooklyn. And Brooklyn's cool, but a lot of people don't know. A lot of people don't know that New York City has more trees than there's so much sun shining in my face. Hold on. I don't think I'm sitting in the right place. Too much sun. But New York City has more trees than any city in the country, okay? The largest tree canopy. New York City has, hold on. I'm doing too much. Filming these videos are difficult. Okay. I got the camera here. Okay. New York City has more trees than any city in the country, in terms of a tree canopy. A lot of people don't know that, okay? And I love trees. That's why I'm not a big fan of Houston or Vegas. I'm not a fan of dry and dusty and no trees. So New York City, and most of those trees are upper Manhattan, the Bronx. Maybe there's a lot in Queens in some areas, but the Bronx is so beautiful with how hilly and luscious it is. And people always say bad things about the Bronx, but there's nice areas like Riverdale and Pelham Parkway, and there's some really, I mean, Pelham or something, by Pelham Park, the area where Pelham Park is in. So there's some really beautiful areas of the Bronx. So I definitely say if you come to New York, you should. I really would love to do tours of New York because um, the Bronx is so gorgeous with the trees and the hills. Where I'm at, like Harlem, Washington Heights, especially Sugar Hill. I talk about that a lot. A lot of my videos is really dope, and there's so many dope parks. But also New York City is the dance capital. So today I wanted to go to dance classes tonight, but in New York there's so much happening that it all overlaps. Okay, it's like there's like three dope things you want to do at once, and like the other day I was going to go to an Afro-Cuban dance class and a Brazilian dance class. I got too much going on. There was an Afro-Brazilian and an Afro-Cuban dance class back to back. So that's 6 hours of dancing. Another day there was a Haitian dance class and an Afro-Brazilian dance class at the same time. Okay, and it's like I'm like, oh, I want to go to both classes, but they're at the same time. There is no other city like that. Like New York, 7 days a week. Okay, 7 days a week, almost 365 days of the year. You could take out Christmas and Thanksgiving and New Year's. Almost all those days, there are multiple dance classes, and not just Afro diasporic dance classes either. Also, hip hop dance classes, Vogue, different types of house, different types of modern dance, different types of ballet, um, tap dance, Broadway jazz. Okay, so there's no other city that has all that. Okay, the only thing that comes close, when it comes to dance is the Bay Area. But the difference between New York and the Bay Area, is that in the Bay Area you'll go to a Haitian dance class with one amazing Haitian drummer and five hippy dippy white drummers who cannot play. You come to a Haitian dance class in New York, you're going to have six badass Haitian drummers, okay? And that's true for the Afro-Cuban stuff, for the Afro-Puerto Rican stuff. There's nothing you can't learn in New York and nothing you can't do in New York. You literally have access to everything. When it comes to shopping, New York has so many shopping areas, probably more than any other city. I meant to bring my stand out here so I don't have to hold this phone and I could smoke a blunt and relax. But anyhow, when it comes to shopping, New York City has more shopping areas than any other city. And we get everything. We get everything first. We get things that other cities never get. So forget about first. We get shit that y'all don't get. Okay? You can find sneakers, clothes, all types of shit in New York that's exclusive. And you can guarantee if anything exclusive comes out, it's definitely coming to New York. You can guarantee if anybody goes on tour, they're definitely coming to New York. Like everything and everyone is definitely coming to New York. Okay? So and then like sometimes things are more expensive. Like a friend of mine went to see Stevie Wonder in Madison Square Garden a couple of weeks ago, and then he went to see Stevie Wonder in Philly. He told me the show in New York was way better. Like the sound system was way better. He said that when he saw it in Philly, he could barely hear the strings that were on the stage. He said in New York there were way more TVs, screens to view him on. In Philly there wasn't. So it was just a better show. So it was more expensive in New York, but it was a better show. Okay. So also, walking down the street, okay, if I'm like, I need some coconut water, I want some watermelon juice, every single block, there's like 3 delis and bodegas, okay? In my neighborhood, people are selling flowers and plants, okay? Like on every block. When I go to any other city in America, if I want flowers, I have to go to the supermarket or one of the few flower shops that exist, okay? In New York, you see flowers and plants being sold everywhere, okay? and especially in neighborhoods with Spanish speaking people, like where I live in Washington Heights. I live on the border of Washington Heights and Harlem. So you don't see that as much in Harlem because more Black American, but in Washington Heights, you see people selling plants and flowers everywhere. Also in Lower Manhattan, you see that. So hold on. Oh no, my little clip. I have a clip for my mic and it fell off. Okay, hold on. Let me read what people wrote. Yeah, fashion you find in New York, you find everywhere else years later. Okay, like even that song Air Force One. Damn, I'm mad. I've lost my clip. Now when I get off this phone, I have to find the clip on my thing. That's fucked up. It might have fallen in the grass, but anyhow. Um, Air Force Ones by Nelly. People in New York, we call them uptowns, and we have been wearing them for a long time before Nelly ever made that song. So when it comes to shopping, when it comes to the fact that you see fly people every day, people who are fly um, who match. When it comes to cultural events, when it comes to the arts, like New York is the theater capital, it is the dance capital, it's the fashion capital, it's the money capital. Okay, so and then so there's an energy in the streets in New York that is unmatched. Okay, there's no other city. I don't care how people. New Orleans compares a bit, but and New Orleans is one of my favorite cities. But New York is even better because New Orleans, it's like, and no offense to any of my people in New Orleans because I love that city. I love it. Okay, I love the music, love everything about it. But there's more of a poverty energy in New Orleans than there is in New York. New York has more of a get money energy, and people in New Orleans usually have to leave New Orleans to make money. The education system in New Orleans sucks. New York has a great education system. Great, New York is very efficient, has great public transportation. So you can be here with a car. Plenty of people have a car, but you don't have to, and you can still survive. Okay, you can't do that in most of America. You can have family. You live in New York. You have family come visit you. You don't have to drive them everywhere. You raise your kids in New York. You don't have to drive them to every basketball practice and drive them to school and shit for their whole fucking life. You don't. They can go. When I was in junior high, I took the bus to my own softball practice. I took the bus to my own softball games. My parents didn't have to go take me every single place I went. You know, that's lame, and I'm sorry. I feel like it raises lame kids. Suburban, even some city kids, who their parents drive them everywhere until they are 16. They're lame and naive when they go to college. Let me see. So I just had to make the video in defense of New York because, and it's not true either that New Yorkers are rude. New Yorkers, to me, go out of their way to be helpful. And if you need help, New Yorkers will help you. You know, I'm somebody who travels a lot in the country and out of the country. Okay, and I feel like New Yorkers they look out for people. If you need, even sometimes you're not asking for help and you look like you need help, New Yorkers will come up to you and ask you and help you. Somebody is writing. Some of the questions you guys are writing, I'm sorry, I cannot read it. I wish I could, but I dropped my phone. So I have lines going through my phone right now. I'm going to get a new phone like in this coming week. So some of the questions you guys are asking, I cannot read it. I'm sorry. But New York is one of the safer cities in the country. Okay. So this is to people who might be watching this video who are foreign, who are coming to America, and you might want to visit some cities and you wonder, is New York overrated? Is New York worth it? I always hear people in New York are mean. I always hear that the city is so dirty. I always hear it's nothing but buildings, okay? This is the west side of Manhattan. I've done videos showing you the east side of the island where I live in Upper Manhattan. That's on the East River, the Harlem River, and it's way more trees than you see over here. These are like the smallest trees you see in New York. Usually it's big grown trees. Also, something said something about New York. I would come visit something. So whatever you wrote, send it to my inbox because I can't read I have like lines going through the left side of my screen that's blocking out some of the words. And if I tried to read it, it'll probably pause the video. Like there's a way I could try to read it, but it like will mess the video up. So sorry. I can only see it says WH and then another word that ends with a D about New York. I would come visit. I don't know if it's one day or something. Yeah. So, but no, New York is worth visiting. Okay, you have top of the line everything. You have like even Avenelli Dance Company. When Avenelli Dance Company has their season in New York, they perform for a month in New York, and they perform 2 shows a day, 7 days a week for a whole month. When they go to DC or Atlanta, they're there for 4 days. Okay. And so Avenelli might have, let's say they have 15 pieces that they have to do in total. And every night they might do anywhere between 3 to 5 of their pieces mixed up in different orders. So they really don't do the same show twice that often. You know, so like every show is almost different. So if they go to a city like DC or Atlanta and they only do 4 shows, you're only getting a fraction of what their full repertoire. You come to New York, you have their full repertoire for a month, blended all kinds of ways. So it's the access in New York, okay? It's the access. When you fly places, flights to Dominican Republic, flights to the Caribbean period out of New York are cheap, okay? Sometimes they're cheaper and easier than Florida sometimes. Some places you have to go fly from Florida to New York and fly back to the Caribbean, okay? But New York and Florida are like the best places to be when you're going to the Caribbean. But there's a lot of cheap flights, direct flights. Even I was looking at going to Tulum again, which I'm not that crazy about Tulum, but I want to go back to the Caribbean coast in Mexico. And so there's direct flights, cheap ones, or JetBlue from New York to Tulum. Chicago, you had to make like 2 transfers if I flew from Chicago, so it's the access. People are great in New York. People are interesting. You never, when you get into conversations with people in New York, you never know who you're talking to. You never know what they do. There's so many interesting people. And people in New York will compliment you. If you fly, people in New York will compliment you. You got on some fly sneakers, they like your outfit, like your hair, people compliment you. If people see you reading an interesting book and it resonates with them, or something's in your t-shirt, they will talk to you. There's no way that New York could have created hip hop if we didn't talk to people. Okay, New York City has created so many things. Okay, and that could not happen in a city where people didn't talk to each other. Okay, so that is not true. Okay, so anyhow, they can make my points. The tree canopy in New York City is greater than any tree canopy in America, and I think in the world, in any city. Okay, so New York City has a lot of trees. If you haven't seen them, it's because you're not in the right part of New York City. And understand, New York City is 5 big old boroughs. Understand that Manhattan is the smallest of those. And most people who come to New York are only in lower Manhattan. Now, Harlem, Washington Heights, where I am right now, is also on La Isla de Manhattan, okay? La Isla, sorry. La Isla, or the island of Manhattan, okay? So, Harlem and Washington Heights is in the northern part of the island. Downtown is on the southern part of the island. And Manhattan, I think, is like 13 miles or something in total. So Manhattan is the smallest borough. Brooklyn and Queens are a lot bigger, okay? Staten Island's a lot bigger. And the Bronx is bigger, even though the Bronx is significantly smaller than Brooklyn and Queens. The Bronx is bigger than Manhattan, and so is Staten Island, okay? So you have 5 boroughs, really kind of 4, because nobody really messes with Staten Island. But next summer, it's my mission to explore Staten Island some more, because it's a big old island, and it's a part of New York City, even though Staten Island should be a part of New Jersey. So you got the trees, amazing parks, okay, with multi-levels that go for like 100 blocks. I don't see cities that have, I haven't seen a city yet that has multiple parks in it that go more than 100 blocks. Now, people talk about Central Park. We have parks like Pelham Bay Park, which is like 4 times the size of Central Park or something, okay? So Central Park is not the only nice park we have, and I don't even know if it's the nicest park that we have, okay? So that's another thing about New York. New York is also much safer than most of the major cities in America. New York is much safer than DC, much safer than Philly, much safer than Baltimore, much safer than Oakland, Detroit, St. Louis, San Francisco, LA, Miami, Houston, New Orleans, Milwaukee, Albuquerque, Birmingham, okay? All those cities are way more dangerous than New York, okay? So there's that. New York City is not gun crazy. For Americans, gun crazy Americans, you may not like that. But in New York, guns are not a part of our culture, okay? Unless you're just a straight up criminal. New Yorkers, regular, sane New Yorkers are not walking around thinking about guns like the rest of America, okay? So it's a much safer city. The public transportation is unmatched, okay? There's no other city in America where you can literally go wherever the fuck you want at any time you want. And I feel totally safe on the trains in New York City at night. I will get on the train at 3, 4 in the morning with no problem, okay? It's not like Chicago where you get in the train 3, 4 in the morning and there's a lot of suspect shit and you might get hurt, okay? So, it's not like DC where the train shut down after a certain time, okay? So you have that, okay? It's a very active city. Thank you for the compliment. It's a very active city. Your exposure to the arts when it comes to theater, when it comes to music. So if you're into classical music, if you're into jazz, if you're into Afro-Latin music, New York is a mecca for all of that. If you love the Caribbean vibe, you want the salsa scene in New York is the best in the country. Okay? You want dance hall, you want Afro beats, like you can find all of that here, okay? You can't find New Orleans second line here. You can't find Memphis juke in here or Chicago juke in here, okay? But there's no city where you can find such a wide variety of things when it comes to music and dance, okay? So you have that. It's very walkable, okay? Which keeps you, last night I saw a woman looked like she was 99 years old. And she was running across the street last night, okay? Running across the street. And I was in the car with my dad and we're like, yo, you see that woman? And I'm like, that's why growing old in New York is good for you. It forces you to walk. Most Americans, and for those of you who are not in America and you're watching these videos, maybe you want to come to America, most of America is not very walkable, for one. And for two, if you come to America and you want to go visit a few different cities, you're going to have to rent a car. If you come to America and you're like, I want to go to LA, I want to go to Miami. If you want to go to Miami and not just be stuck on South Beach, okay? Miami's a big city and you have to drive a lot in Miami and South Florida. Okay, if you just want to go sit on South Beach, that's fine. But people from Miami will tell you South Beach is not Miami. Okay, so if you think you've been to Miami and all you've been doing is going to South Beach, that's like coming to New York and all you've been doing is going to Times Square. Okay, New Yorkers will tell you Times Square ain't New York. I mean, it is, but nobody in New York gives a fuck about Times Square. Okay, it's not authentically New York. It's for tourists. So, if you really want to explore a city, you need to move around that city. And in New York, you can do that totally independent, without cars or anything. You cannot. That's not true in LA. That's not true in Miami. That's not true. I mean, shit, I wouldn't do it in Philly. You know. I mean, you could, but I would rather move around in a car, moving all around Philly efficiently. Same thing goes for Houston. That's why I went to Houston. It's too expensive. I have to rent a car and just to get from point A to point B. Okay, so Detroit, because it was an auto industry town. They purposely made that town so people had to have a car. Okay, so I don't like going places and feeling stuck and dependent on people to take me places. In New York, if you come to New York, you can walk outside and get whatever the fuck you want. Okay, if you're like, it's 3 a.m. and you're like, I want a sandwich, I want something to drink, I want some ginger ale, I need to buy a shower cap right now, or some Band-Aids, or I need a plastic fork. Go downstairs to the bodega, to the deli, to the corner store. They got all that shit. I go to a convenience store in Chicago. I go to a convenience store in Chicago and buy some ice cream, ask them for a straw, and they don't have a straw. Did my sound go out, or could you guys hear me? I just noticed that my mic looks like it needs to be charged. So let me know if my sound went out for any of that. Hopefully it didn't. I'm hoping it didn't. Nobody told me my sound went out. But put a 2 in the chat if my sound went out. If you did not hear me for some time, put a 2 in the chat. Anyhow, so you have safety. Oh, then you have good-looking people. New York has a lot of beautiful women and a lot of good-looking men. Every woman loves the swag of New York City men. Okay, I know I do. Okay, can't be the Method Man and the LL Cool J. All right. Another good thing about New York: attractive people, dope fashion, great places to shop, the artistic capital, music capital, theater, yada yada yada. Great parks, lots of trees, great public transportation, open-minded, diverse people who know how to mind their business. Okay, you have access to everything. I mean, I was just in Astoria, Queens with a friend of mine last week. A good friend of mine who moved to Philly, and we were hanging out in Astoria, Queens, and we were just like, we were like, okay, I'm hungry. I want to go to the dispensary. I want to go to the liquor store. I want ice cream. Okay. On a 2-block radius, we had the best Thai food I ever had. Went across the street to the dispensary. Then we walked a block and there was 2 ice cream shops, Van Leeuwen, which is out of Brooklyn, and another gelato place. And then right next to that was the liquor store. Okay. And it wasn't the only ice cream shop or the only liquor store or the only restaurant or the only people selling weed on those 2 blocks. Okay. There's no other city where you can do that. Any place else in America, you're not going to find all that on 1 or 2 blocks. You're going to have to go all the way over there for this, all the way over there for that. Go get in the car and go drive all the way over there for this. And if you drive all the way over there and they don't have what you need at that store, you got to get in your car, go drive another half a mile, another mile over there. Okay, so New York is the shit. I'm sorry, I'm always going to say it. Chicago was voted the number 1 best city. Chicago was voted the number 1 big city in America for like 8 years in a row by some organization. And I'm like, Chicago is dope, but it's not better than New York. So in case you didn't know, I'm a New Yorker who lives in Chicago. I've been living in Chicago for almost 8 years. I love Chicago. I do many videos about Chicago that you can check here on this page. And even though I'm going to do videos as I travel around, and I have a lot of upcoming videos to do, I just haven't had time to make them, but I have a lot of upcoming videos. But I'm going to talk about New York and Chicago a lot because those are the cities I live in and have a deep place in my heart. Okay. But I'm just going to say Chicago is great, and there's some things about Chicago that is better than New York. There are some things like the food, like the architecture, okay? But New York overall is a better city because of what you have access to, because of the energy just on the streets. It's unmatched, okay? Tokyo don't got it. Because people talk about Tokyo. Tokyo is too homogenous. There's a whole bunch of Japanese people. Okay, you come to New York City, you see every kind of look. I mean, no offense to anybody, but I'm just saying, like, let's say that's not your type. Maybe you're not attracted to Japanese people. That's all you're gonna see. You come to New York, you're gonna see whatever you like. What do you like? You like Asian? You like black? You like Latina? You like a mixture of the shit? We have it all. You're going to see all of it, okay? It's not homogenous. In New York, you don't have to be a certain way. In New York, what's cool is not trying to be like everybody else and trying to fit in. In New York, what's cool is being as unique as possible. We try to be as unique as possible so we can stand out. Our sneaker game be on point. I feel like the sneaker fashion probably came out of New York. Okay? So, I mean, we get everything first. Whatever you want to find, whatever sneaker comes out, whatever comes out in life, you best to believe it will be in New York City first. And sometimes it never makes. I see things in New York, even by companies like Simply Lemonade. Okay, I see flavors in New York that I have never seen in any other city. Never. I just, I constantly see stuff like that. So you got flowers and plants. I was in DC last week. I had to go buy flowers for somebody, and I had to drive 20 minutes to a flower shop that only sold roses. In New York, I could walk around the corner and people got all kinds of assortments of flowers. In my neighborhood, I could walk to Amsterdam. I could walk to Amsterdam and go left. There's people selling flowers. Walk to Amsterdam and go right. People selling flowers and plants. Walk to Broadway. More people selling flowers and plants. What other city has that? New York got people selling stuff on the street. You could literally go shopping on the sidewalk. Food, clothes, shoes, freaking utensils, bags, like whatever you could think of, they're selling it on the street in New York, on top of all the stores. There's certain places like on 125th Street in Harlem and 181st in Washington Heights where you have blocks where you got like 4 or 5 sneaker stores, okay? 4 or 5 sneaker stores in like 2 blocks. What other city do you see that? Okay? So to me, I'm just about respect being given where it's due, and I'm about the truth being told. And people love to hate on New York, especially, I've done videos about hip-hop and how annoyed I get with that, when people are always trying to hate on New York hip-hop when we're the ones that not only invented it, but we have more legends. We have more hip-hop legends than any other city. Sorry, we do. Yes, there are great rappers from Atlanta. There are great rappers from Chicago and from New Orleans and from Philly and from, Detroit, whatever city. Yes, there are. But nobody has as many legends as New York City, so put some respect on our name. People love to hate on us. And what other city can you be in a major city and just step into such a beauty? There might be some cities like that. But New York has a lot of this, okay? So nice. Let me see. Oh, my blunt fell. I'm over here dropping shit making this video. You guys got me losing things. And you can smoke outside. So I'm about to smoke my L and appreciate this last warm day because it's fall and the temperature is about to drop for real. It's Indian summer right now. Yeah, so I think I made my point. Have you been to New York City? Are you one of those people that thinks you don't need to come to New York City because it's overrated? Are you one of those people that thinks, oh, New York has mean people and it's dirty and everybody's all on top of each other? Not realizing that we have so much nature that you can just step out of the city into nature. And again, we have more trees. New York City's tree canopy is larger than any other city in the United States or in the world. If you don't believe me, Google it. So make sure you follow me on Instagram. Make sure you follow me on YouTube. Stay tuned for the videos I'm going to do. I have some videos I need to do as soon as I get a chance. I'm just living life and moving around. I want to do this video really quick, and I'll show you one last little look, little spot. I love Upper Manhattan because I've done videos before where I showed you the east side of the island off of Edgecombe Avenue on Upper Manhattan, and now this is off of Riverside Drive. So this is the George Washington Bridge, okay? And you see you can come right down here and you're so close to the lake. Next summer, not the lake, the river. Next summer, I definitely want to do, and driving, if you come into Manhattan, the prettiest way to come is across the George Washington Bridge. Not through the Holland Tunnel, not through the Lincoln Tunnel. Those tunnels are ugly, they're congested, and when you come into New York through the Holland Tunnel and the Lincoln Tunnel, the first thing that you see is hideous, and it makes you not want to be in New York. If you drive across the George Washington Bridge, it is the most beautiful view of Manhattan you will see ever coming into Manhattan, okay? Like when you come across this bridge into Manhattan, what you see is big rock formations and a lot of trees. And then you can see the buildings way down there, okay? But when you come into New York through the Holland Tunnel or the Lincoln Tunnel, you see no trees. You just see a bunch of big buildings stacked on top of a pancake, flat-ass piece of land looking like it's about to sink. I am not a fan of Lower Manhattan. I am not a fan. When I go downtown, I get stressed the fuck out. I'm an uptown girl all day. It's way prettier up here. Way prettier up here. So if you come to New York City, feel free to hit me up and I'll tell you where to go. But you cannot come to New York City and just be like, oh, I went to 125th Street, I went to Harlem. 125th Street is also overrated. It's cool, but it's not the prettiest or coolest part of Harlem. There are several parts. Here, my battery's about to die, and I'm gonna save it and enjoy the rest of the evening. Okay, people, have a good day. Bye.